Hello guys, today we are going through the negatives of being a physical media collector. Yes, as with everything in life, there are positives and there are negatives. And previously I have done a positives of collecting physical media, as well as why do I collect physical media. And from doing that, I came up with many positives and many negatives. And here we are now today doing those negatives to collecting physical media, because unfortunately there are some. And the first one we will start with is the cost of being a physical media collector is obviously a lot more than maybe it would be on streaming, for instance. At the point of this now, I'm going to go here and pick up a title like Dune 2. Of course, $24.99 for this on 4K. But if I was going to search now for this on iTunes, how much would this be? Well, a 4K Dolby Vision Dolby Atmos version on iTunes currently is on here for $13.99. So a dramatically different price decrease there in terms of that. You know, cost is a thing. And you know, then with the cost, you've also got then physical items like the wall behind me of items that physically need to be stored. And that of course brings me on to my next negative, which is the space. It takes up space, which then needs to be maintained, cleaned, looked after. You need actual units and stuff to store the things in. And, you know, you need a bit more care and attention and everything to look after your items, of course, because you want to make sure that, you know, the things like the sun don't, you know, make the spines fade, which is something I'm trying to figure out right now. So you're trying to protect your investment, I suppose, so that they don't get that, you know, reducing damage. Obviously, if all these spines damaged now and this fell off and dented, it wouldn't be worth what it is now. So you're obviously trying to protect that investment, and you know, you need time and space to actually physically to do that. And speaking of time, then of course, if I bought Dune then on my iPad and was going to watch it on my TV, on my Apple TV, and stream it, I could do that instantly. I could pay the $13.99 now and do that instantly. The negative to physical media is if I ordered this movie on Amazon, I would have to wait until tomorrow, or a couple of hours at least, especially with Amazon, or physically go to a store to go and pick it up, which if there's even some stores close by you that you can actually just walk to or whatever to get it if you wanted to watch something instant, is what I'm on about. So there definitely is negatives there to time. You know, it takes a while obviously for maybe deliveries to come in and all of that. Streaming online obviously has many benefits. You'd be sat in your pajamas, I want to watch Dune, pay the $13.99, and within a couple of seconds you are there watching the movie. The other negative to physical media, I touched on it then with like the sun damaging, and that is depreciation. So physical media does go down in price, and sometimes very fast, sometimes not. In my positives video, there is positive that obviously you can get some items that are worth a lot of money, but some items can go down in price. Something like Fast and Furious 9, for instance, would have been 25 quid when it came out, but I think I paid £6 for this in the sale. So a brand new title here, as you can see, but to get this for 6 quid in the sale is, you know, a bit of a drop off from the price that it started at when it first came out. And yeah, there's negatives there, you know, in that sense. You know, as with anything though, when you buy something, you buy a car off the forecourt, you drive it, it's not worth what you just pay for it, because you just literally drove it and now you're another owner. That's like the saying, isn't it? So depreciation, of course, is something with everything, but as I said in my positives video, there is positives because some things can go up in value as well. So as with anything, one thing I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about is the format changes. We've recently, with physical media, we've had new releases of Avatar on the collector's edition side of things for Way of Water, as well as the first Avatar movie. And one of the benefits to these two was the fact that they both came with Dolby Atmos as well as Dolby Vision. So both of these come with those codecs there, which are very important for people who have the hardware to obviously support it. When Way of Water came out, the original Blu-ray didn't support Dolby Vision, so they used the collector's edition as a way to promote it, and also the Steelbook didn't. But as I say, this was more of an exclusive way, the only way you can experience it in Dolby Vision. Avatar, the first movie, though, there was some slight differences there. Like the Steelbook allowed Dolby Vision, but the standard Blu-ray didn't, the re-release, of course. So there were some discrepancies there, but these two are the best way to watch them both, of course, in Dolby Vision. So you are stuck on your format, whichever version you buy. The best example of this is the Mandalorian trilogy of seasons that we've had released, of course. The first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were released on Disney Plus, of course, and then they came on disc. And both of these came out with Dolby Atmos as the soundtracks, of course. No Dolby Vision. Even though Dolby Vision is all all over Disney Plus, of course, and these were and are streaming in Dolby Vision, they didn't release them physically with Dolby Vision. Fast forward though to season 3, and this has had a Dolby Vision release, as you can see there. So the problem I've got now is I've got 3 physical versions of The Mandalorian, but the only way to watch the first 2 seasons in Dolby Vision is via Disney Plus. This one, the third one, of course, is the same, all the same stuff you'd expect, but I'm stuck with these 2 in terms of not having Dolby Vision and, you know, not allowing the advancements of HDR to flourish, of course. This is a change Disney have made recently. They never have supported Dolby Vision in their releases of physical media, and they changed this very recently. And of course, you know, by the time the third one comes out now, and I guess all the ones going forward, because Ahsoka was another release that did have Dolby Vision, and actually the first one, they're now obviously on this train of supporting it. So same thing with your Marvels. Obviously your earlier Marvels wouldn't have Dolby Vision, but now the newer releases potentially will. So there is negatives there in terms of being completionist, thinking from a technical point of view. I want to have them all in Dolby Vision and all of that. The other thing with the Marvel stuff that I particularly don't like is the IMAX enhanced scenes. So on Disney Plus, they do this IMAX enhanced scene mode where certain scenes they'll show in the IMAX ratio, but that has never been on the discs. And for me, there's always been a pull to watch the Marvel films in that aspect ratio rather than, you know, just the current version on discs. So yeah, there is some negatives there, of course, of physical media, because when you buy a disc, you're stuck with that disc unless the company and the studio re-releases it or does another run and then it starts coming with Dolby Vision. But the chances are they're not. Once it's out, that's it. And unless there's like a 10-year anniversary, they might then say, oh, now in Dolby Vision. So you are stuck with it. Whereas if you bought a movie from 5, 10, 15 years ago on iTunes, and it obviously had HD and then it has a 4K release, you get that for free. You get that upgrade for free. If they add Dolby Vision, they add the Dolby Atmos soundtrack, that will also get added to the file. You don't have to rebuy it. So there is definite negatives there, in my opinion, to being stuck on a particular format. And the other negative, in my opinion, is region coding, of course. With Blu-rays and 4K, there is differences. 4Ks don't have any lock-in, so you can buy a 4K from anywhere in the world and it will play anywhere in the world. Blu-rays do. You have to be a bit more savvy. You have to know what you're doing. And I think for the general easygoing movie fan or whatever that wants to start collecting physical media, they could, for instance, assume that it would work, but it might not. So you have to know a little bit of technical stuff there about that. But that's, as I say, hopefully a thing of the past, because, you know, Blu-rays are region coded and all that, and that's the format of Blu-ray. But, you know, with 4K, and obviously if there ever is another format after 4K, the chances are it's probably going to be region free and all of that. But we're never going to see, unfortunately, Blu-ray go back to I guess change to be region free, because that's how it is in terms of the format that was built. So yeah, so there's some of my negatives, especially, you know, I think that the format one, being stuck on the format, that is a huge negative to me, and that is probably what started this entire video series off, really, in terms of that thought that went through my head. Because when you buy something physically and it is on your shelf, it is on your shelf. And like, for instance, I'm going to take Ghostbusters as a good example. You know, there's just a Dolby Atmos track on here. There's no Dolby Vision. But if they ever decided, you know what, we're going to do a massive anniversary in a couple of years' time, and we're going to say now in Dolby Vision, well, I'll be implied to want to buy that because I want the best quality that I possibly can, for instance. So definite negatives there to having physical media. But also there is massive positives. If you did miss that video, please go back and watch that. And of course, the reason why I collect physical media anyways, many that I have discussed in these videos. But there it is. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please do subscribe if you are new here and you like what you see on the channel, of course. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon, and of course we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.